Dear chess lovers, welcome back to my channel. Now we are going to see the Armageddon game, Anand against Wang Ho. This game, Anand played with white pieces, so Anand played with 10 minutes. Wang Ho is playing with black pieces, he is playing with 7 minutes. If this game drawn, then Wang Ho is winner. But one more time Anand proves. This game also, Anand started with e4, Wang Ho started with e5. After knight f3, knight c6, Anand plays bishop to b5. This is Rossolimo. Here Wang Ho goes to g6. Now castle, bishop to g7, c3. This game Anand started with some attacking options. So after c3, the idea is playing d4, then controlling the center a little bit stronger. So Wang Ho played e5 to stop the pawn on d4, but still Anand goes d4. After c takes d4, c takes d4, e takes d4. Now Anand plays bishop f4. He did not exchange the bishop for knight and he did not take the pawn on d4. Now a6. Still he did not exchange the bishop. He goes bishop c4. Then d6. After knight b d2, h6, bishop to d5. Now after knight g e7, knight to c4, castle. Here Anand took the pawn on d6. After rook e8, Anand goes to bishop g3. Then again rook f8, pawn to h3. Here after knight takes d5, pawn takes d5, Wang Ho goes to knight e7. He cannot take the pawn on d5 because if queen takes, then knight to b6, he will lose the rook. So after knight e7, Anand takes the pawn on d4, Wang Ho takes the pawn on d5 with knight. Now knight to b3, b5. Again Anand goes to knight d6, then knight to b6, now knight c5, after rook a7 b3. Here Wang Ho did not take the rook, because in this kind of fianchetto castle, if black gives the bishop for the rook, then they have to fight little bit hard for that king. So Wang Ho goes to knight d7, after knight c e4, knight to f6, rook to c1. In this game, here the important moment happened. Here both players are fighting aggressively. In this game, after c4, after rook c1, engine is showing bishop e6 is normal move. But here Wang Ho goes to knight e4. Now Anand took the bishop on c8. Now there is some variations in this position. In this game, Wang Ho takes the rook, but here there is a possibility to take the knight on d6. Here, white cannot take the rook because black will take the rook with queen, then white will lose the full piece. Instead of queen c8 or queen d6, if black goes to knight to g3, now after takes, then rook takes, then pawn takes, after rook a7 to d7, here there is a problem on queen to d5. Now the queen is attacking on the f7. If rook takes on d6, then queen takes f7, king h8. This position, maybe black can play with piece up, but the position, the black king is little bit open. This position is also material up for white, also the king is little bit exposed. For this reason, Wang Ho goes to queen c8. Then after knight takes c8, rook takes c8, queen to g4, attacking the rook on c8. Now the rook goes to e8, after bishop f4, rook a e7, bishop to e3. Now after rook e6, rook d1, pawn to b4. Here, this is a mistake move. Instead of pawn b4, if black plays pawn h5, then this could be equal position. But here Wang Ho goes to b4, after rook d3, a5, queen to d1, knight to c3, queen d2, h5. After rook d8, bishop f6, rook takes e8, rook takes e8. After queen c7, rook to d5, defending the pawn on a5. Now g4, h takes g4, h takes g4. Now black made one more blunder mistake, which is knight takes a2. Here Anand goes to queen c6, rook to d1 check. After king g2, king g7, now Anand tried to exchange the bishop with the bishop h6 check after king takes bishop, queen takes bishop. Now again knight goes to c3. If you note the knight moves unwantedly 2 times, Anand used this chance perfectly. Here Anand goes to f4 after rook d2 check, king to h3. Here Wang Hao designed the game because he has no hope in this game. Checkmate is waiting on h8. No more hope for black. I hope you all enjoyed the game. If anybody has to analyze any game, please text me in comment. I will post soon. Please support me with like, subscribe and share. See you on next video.